Welcome back to Focus Today, and what a delight and an honor to have back with us today David Kupelian. He is a writer for WorldNet Daily. He's also the author of several books, The Snapping of the American Mind. You need to get a copy of that. And we're also holding up another one of his great books. It's called The Marketing of Evil. You talk about a book that is so relevant of today. This is the one you ought to get. Well, get them all, but you can go to WND Books and bring up David Kupelian. You'll see all of his books. The Marketing of Evil, The Snapping of the American Mind, and then his most recent article, which is published now at WND.com, The Real Reason the Mainstream Media Protect Hillary. And by the way, if you are a subscriber to Whistleblower Magazine, if you're not, you should be. How did they get this, Dave? Can they get it at
They
WND?
can go to WorldNet Daily, WND.com, go to the bottom of the page, and there's a big picture of that cover right there. Click on it, and you can read all about it.
Okay. This is an extended version of his article, but Hillary's ultimate weapon. Boy, unbelievable. Hi, good to see you. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me, Perry.
The WikiLeaks has certainly connected the dots that there is a collusion between the mainstream media and the Hillary Clinton camp.
But you never know about it if you only listen to the mainstream media, because they are basically blacking it out.
Right.
That's the whole point. You know, if you go to the Drudge Report today, and you go the Skyline, which is the top of the page, he has a dozen or more headlines, all for the last 24 hours, breaking news. The latest stuff in WikiLeaks, and there's collusion here with the head of Google and with the head of ABC News, and Hillary wants Obamacare to unravel so she can have socialized medicine. All these really hot headlines, you know. But the thing is that if you look at the source of those headlines, most of them are from either, you know, Breitbart or WorldNet Daily or the Daily Caller or Gateway Pundit. You know, they are not from the, quote, mainstream media. All these things that are sensational news, okay, about, you know, collusion between, you know, somebody from CNN feeding Hillary Clinton these questions before a town hall. This is outright corruption. You don't do a corruption of the news media. But the irony is you won't hear about them from the so-called mainstream news media. You have to go to WorldNet Daily or the Drudge Report or Talk Radio or Breitbart or the blogosphere because you have this unbelievable news being broken. Between WikiLeaks, that was the 12th data dump today, tens of thousands of emails incriminating all. You have James O'Keefe, Project Veritas, which has people on video saying, we are going to, whether it's legal or illegal, we're going to win this election for Hillary Clinton. These are people that are not talking about the gray area between legal and illegal. They're way over in the black area of outright illegal voter fraud, and they're bragging about it. But my point is, Perry, almost none of this appears anywhere on the network news shows, ABC, NBC, CBS, CNN, MSNBC, the Washington Post, the New York Times, because they are all obsessed 24/7 with women that say that Donald Trump kissed them 30 years ago, or where's Donald Trump's tax return, and so forth. They are literally obsessed, and they have thrown off their previous, I would say, pathetic pretense at objectivity, at appearing to be objective and impartial, and they are simply, they're in a scorched earth campaign of trashing Donald Trump 24/7 because they simply feel that the whole republic depends on stopping him and electing Hillary Clinton.
All right, this produces a lot of questions, but a couple of, if I can bring it into a couple of areas. By the way, his article is a must-read, The Real Reason the Mainstream Media Protect Hillary, and then, of course, an extended version of that is over to Whistleblower. The first question comes from your headline. Why are they doing this? What's the purpose of the mainstream media threatening their own integrity and credibility, forfeiting it, I should say, to protect this woman and this candidate? What's the reason for it?
Yeah, and let's remind ourselves that, you know, if Trump really were Hitler and Hillary were the savior of America, you could kind of understand that, okay? But the things that have come out about Hillary Clinton lately are, again, not just in the kind of the gray area between legal and illegal. They're way, way over in the illegal area, like things that if other people did them, they would be serving hard time in prison. That's simply a fact. So the media, look, Perry, I've been in the news media for 35 years. Okay, this is my field. It's been known since before I was in the news media that the media are liberal. They lean left. Way back in the early 80s, you had the Lichter-Rothman study where they interviewed 200 plus top media people for an hour each, and they found out their voting habits and their worldview. And yes, it's no secret that the vast majority of the key people at all of the major media, broadcast and print, are liberal. This is different now, okay? What we're showing, for instance, in here, in the longer version, you see these pictures here? Okay, and there's more pictures of people. These are all people that are in the mainstream news media in top positions, but that also go back and forth into government. So I'm not just saying that they share a worldview. I'm saying it's the same exact people. The most obvious example people know about is George Stephanopoulos. Right. During the Clinton administration, he was a hardcore Clinton supporter. He was, I forget his position, but he was a key White House advisor to Bill Clinton, a loyal toady for years for the Clintons. Yeah. Okay, and then somehow he magically morphs into a top mainstream journalist at the very top of ABC News. He's the anchor on. He's a substitute anchor for the evening news, but he's in the Sunday show. He's the main anchor. He's the main political reporter. He is the top person in the, quote, mainstream news business. So he goes from being a hyper-partisan Clinton person to being a supposedly objective journalist. This is the story of all of them. Those 30 people you just saw there, okay, these are people that were in top reporting positions at top newspapers or broadcast outlets, and then they became top speechwriters for Hillary Clinton, or a top speechwriter for Barack Obama, or for Tim Geithner, or for Samantha Power, or some other top person. You have David Axelrod, this top strategist for Obama. Well, he was a journalist. You have Donna Brazile, okay, who is now the chairman of the DNC, the Democrat National Committee. Before that, yeah. She was with CNN, and she was literally a mole for the Clinton campaign. She was feeding information to the Clinton campaign that they weren't supposed to have, like feeding them questions about an upcoming town hall. You know, if you are fed a question ahead of time in a town hall which is supposed to be spontaneous, hello, Madam Secretary, my question is this, what are we going to do about, this college tuition and my debt? But if she has that question ahead of time and knows, especially if it's a difficult, oddball question, that gives her an unfair advantage. The whole idea of these debates like the one we're seeing tonight is that it's supposed to be fair, level playing field. Perry, it's not hard to be a moderator, okay? Here's my clock. You have this much time. Beep, you've gone over your time, please finish up, okay? You don't pretend to be a fact checker because you're always wrong, okay? Every time they say, oh no, not this, actually, they're wrong. But the 59 million people that saw the second debate, or the 84 million that saw the first debate, they don't know about that the moderator was wrong. All they heard was that they heard on prime time with the popcorn flowing and they're watching the great debate, oh, Donald Trump was called out by the moderator, he was wrong. And the next day, oh, the moderator was wrong, flat out wrong. Lester Holt was wrong, okay, the Candy Crowley moment. But you know what? Very few people hear that. And that's the point. The point is the big spectacle. And honestly, Perry, the whole thing with TV spectacles like tonight, that's what the media is about. It's a big, right now, it's mostly a big show. These are people that are I liken it to a Saturday Night Live skit. You have actors that are playing the part. It's funny. They have a Donald Trump wig on. They have a Hillary wig. They're doing funny stuff, okay? They're usually lefties, but it's still kind of funny, okay? But that's labeled as humor, okay? But the news media, as they are today, I'm talking about the big so-called mainstream media, more and more, it's a show.
Yeah.
It's not real. It's just a pretense.
Let me take a break here. Let me leave you with a question. We'll take a break. Couple things. It's been said that the media is the fourth branch of government. You know, I think we probably would agree to a certain point that that probably is the case.
And they're the only profession that is actually protected in the Constitution, the First Amendment, because they were meant to be a check on government, not a propaganda wing for government.
54% rating still for the president, 14% rating for Congress, 6% rating for the media. My question is this. It appears, well, from what I do, from my perspective, I look at ratings, you probably do too. If you add up the mainstream media, primetime shows, it doesn't even hold a candle to the ratings of Fox News. If you add up all the talk radio programs that are out there, they're primarily conservative. Rush Limbaugh is dealing with anywhere from a 20 to 24 million audience every day. Are you telling me that with all that kind of persuasion and viewing and listening and ratings that we're losing? How did that happen? When we got all the ratings? You can answer that when we come back. We'll be right back with David Kupelian. And by the way, you might want to read the article. It's at WND.com. The real reason mainstream media protect Hillary. We'll be right back.
I'm Paulina Leiser, producer of Focus Today. Thank you for watching this video, and make sure to check our other videos at theDove.us.
Welcome back to Focus Today. What a delight and an honor to have back in the studio with us David Kupelian. He's an author for WorldNet Daily. You can go to WND.com and read a lot of his articles and check out his books. The article that we're referring to today is The Real Reason Mainstream Media Protect Hillary. That's available at WND.com. Check out his books, The Snapping of the American Mind, and this one really comes to mind right now. It's called The Marketing of Evil. This is an incredible book. You talk about a relevant book. You may want to check this out. And then you may want to sign up and subscribe to Whistleblower Magazine. That's where he's taken the article that he's written about the media and Hillary, and it's expanded out and includes pictures and names and all kinds of things in there. All right, so I left you with the question. It seems like that if you look at the media, ratings of the media, the conservative side of the equation have more viewers and listeners than the liberal side, but the liberal side is winning. How do you explain that?
Well, there's no question we have a robust alternative media, which is one of the great blessings in America. In fact, every time I write a book like this one, and you get to the end and you have to be positive and say, well, where's the redemption? Where's the hope? Where are the solutions to the problems you've outlined in your book? I always have a section about the news media because when you and I were growing up, it was the 3 broadcast networks and PBS, which was even more liberal, and the Washington Post and New York Times, and they were all basically a left-wing, secular worldview. And so now we have like you said before the break, we have talk radio, we have the internet, and it's bursting with different viewpoints, some of them left, but everything imaginable you've got on there. So, but the problem is, even though Fox News is terrific, I love Fox News, okay? It's not perfect, but it's so much better than the rest of the broadcast media. But you have maybe 3 or 4 million people watching, let's say. I'm not talking about a debate like tonight, but normally, Hannity, O'Reilly, Megyn Kelly, you have in the neighborhood of 3.5, 4 million people watching. The broadcast networks, you've got a combined audience of maybe 30 million, okay? So that's 10 times as many people. You have people, we're creatures of habits, Perry, and so people that are elderly and have been raised on CBS News and Dan Rather and ABC and NBC, they keep watching those. So there's a lot of people that are watching that, And then you have a lot of people who are not watching anything at all. They're just not paying attention at all. They know nothing about the candidates except what they hear from Colbert, you know, and Saturday Night Live. Can you imagine basing your impressions on who to vote for based on the cold open skit on Saturday Night Live?
No, but a lot of people do.
A lot of people do.
Yeah.
This is the problem. It's not just the news media. You have a lot of young people. There was a survey out yesterday that said that over 40% of millennials aged 16 to 20, that age group, favor socialism and even communism. Okay, these are not stupid people. Okay, these are beautiful young people, good brain God gave them. Okay, but they have been brainwashed, and yeah, I'm using the word brainwashed. Okay, in our colleges, in our educational system, which has been, you know, look, face it, let's wake up, owned by the progressive left for 100 years, okay? So you go to college today, it's the most left-wing place in the country right now. So the fact that they can believe in a system that has never worked, Perry.
Yeah.
It's been used in, what, 39 or 40 different countries. Every one, it fails. And look at Venezuela. Venezuela, which has the richest oil reserves, some of the richest reserves in the world, they are eating each other right now. There's stories about they're having to literally live on garbage to stay alive there. It's unbelievable. This is the system that 40% of American young people born in the lap of luxury are believing. So it's not just the media's fault, it's education. Look, the left, as you well know, owns most of our major institutions in the country. So even though America is traditionally a Christian country, has a strong alternative media, a lot of people going to church and still believing in the Judeo-Christian values, the Ten Commandments, the Sermon on the Mount. It's like half of us. The question is, are we over 50% yet? That's what the election is all about.
Is the collusion of the mainstream media protecting Hillary part of what Donald Trump is calling a rigged election?
Oh, absolutely. Look, what does it mean to be rigged?
Yeah.
When I was a kid, they had the game shows, $64,000 question. I was a little kid, and I heard that it was rigged. They gave the answers to the contestants before, and I didn't really understand that they were going for ratings and the sensationalism and the people in the booth, and they're saying, it's like ding, dong, and they're saying it was Henry the 19th. Yay, he wins $64,000. That was rigged. Okay, so what does it mean to have a rigged, not just rigged in terms of voter fraud, okay, but rigged in terms of the government, the collusion with government. We have, just example, the James O'Keefe video got over 2 million views instantly yesterday.
Yeah,
okay,
right, yeah.
Okay, that should have been like trending on Google. People go to Google to get their news and they say, well, let's see what's trending right now. It wasn't trending. Okay, they went and they showed what was trending. This, which had 125,000 views, that's trending. This thing that had 40,000 views, that's trending. Okay, WND, sometimes our stories are so hot, they'll be trending on Facebook or on Google, wherever it is. But here's something that is like astronomically hot, over 2 million views of the video in 24 hours, it's not trending. Because the head of Google, this was one of those missing headlines on the top of Drudge today, is openly conspiring with the White House. They're all in on it. They openly say, Obama comes out, this is not my opinion, he comes out and says Donald Trump is not fit to be president, okay? This is a guy who will do anything behind the scenes. Obama has no more elections to face. He is in wild man mode. He'll do anything he can do and get away with, which is basically anything, because he's running out the clock right now.
Right.
So the media, the tech companies like Google and Facebook and so forth, I can tell you that Google has suppressed WorldNet Daily stories. I don't know about now, but for a long time, you could go and put in the exact headline of a WorldNet Daily story, and WorldNet Daily would not come up. The exact headline,
Right.
it wouldn't come up. It should be the first return. You may have some blog that links to it or somebody else that links to it because they're not blocked. So these are people that wield tremendous levers of power, whether it's in technology or in the news media or elections. By the way, voter fraud is real. All you have to do, anybody listening, go on whatever your favorite website is, but just go look at Project Veritas, James O'Keefe. It's the yesterday and today, the latest videos, and your undercover videos, you see these Democratic operatives paid by the Democrat National Committee in their own words, using X-rated language that I cannot use on the air, but saying how legal or illegal, we don't care. We're going to win this, and I won't utter the noun that they use, but we're going to win this, okay? Doesn't matter. And you know why, Perry? The bottom line of it all is they believe that Trump is Hitler, and they believe that conservatives and Christians are Hitler. And I've said this before to you. If they really were Hitler, voter fraud would be fine. And you know, voting, anything you can do. There were 16 plots to assassinate Hitler, okay? The Washington Post, I did another story recently where I revealed that there were not one or two, but 5 different Washington Post writers. This is one of the most famous newspapers in world history, Washington Post. This year, 5 different reporters, not reporters, 5 different writers have compared Donald Trump to Adolf Hitler, okay? Adolf Hitler killed not just 6 million Jews, but many other millions of people. He had his people conduct horrible medical experiments on children, thousands of them. If you go and read descriptions of them or look at pictures which exist online, you will cry if you are a human being to even read about this. Okay, he was a monster. Donald Trump is a New York businessman with a loud mouth. He's built tall buildings all over the world. Now he's running for president. He's never killed anybody. He's not anti-Semitic. There's not a micron of evidence that he is in any way anything like Adolf Hitler. And yet you have the Washington Post that gave us Woodward and Bernstein and the Watergate. You know, a generation of young people like me went into journalism because they saw all the president's men and they wanted to go and be like Woodward and Bernstein. This is the newspaper, okay, that is 5 times comparing Donald Trump to Adolf Hitler. And you know what I said at the end of that article? I said that if somebody assassinates Donald Trump, this is what I told you last time, if somebody assassinates Donald Trump, okay, the Washington Post is responsible because they have given permission to some insane, unhinged person out there. And you can see some of them on James O'Keefe's video. They say, we pay mentally ill people. This is a quote. It says, we actually pay, with the DNC funds, mentally ill people to go out and do bleep, okay? Remember the 69-year-old woman with the cannula and the oxygen that was beaten up by Trump protesters at the rally? Never happened. She was a mole. She was a Democrat mole. It's all theater. What we're seeing is theater right now.
Well, I wish I had you for 2 more hours. We're out of time. Let me just say, go to WND.com. You can read the article, The Real Reason Mainstream Media Protect Hillary. You may want to also subscribe to Whistleblower Magazine, which is the article expanded with all of the pictures and everything. Thank you, David, for coming in and giving of your time. Let's stay in touch. Let's talk about this after tonight, see what happens.
Harry, thank you. It's a pleasure.
21
anytime.
days. You know, here we go. We'll see what happens. Thank you, my friend.
Great
Good
for
to
the
see you.
country.
All right, we'll see you next time on Focus Today.